Thursday, Learnday. What's up, everybody? It is hot in here. It's hot outside. It was a crazy hot day today. As you can probably tell, I don't have air conditioning here in the studio yet. I've been working on getting an electrician to come out and fix the electrical. I had some weird issue, and I was quoted $4,000 to fix the electrical. And yeah, I'm trying to get the electrical done and the AC done. And in the meantime, so apparently, like, the cabling for the electrical costs 3 times as much now because of COVID. So yeah, COVID has affected absolutely everything apparently, and which makes all the sense in the world. One of the things that's been on my mind lately is just thinking about, I've been performing a lot and I've been having some of the best success in my life, which is just, been working a long time for this. So it's, I don't feel like I'm there yet by any means, whatever that means. But I do feel like it's starting to be fun and not just grinding and pushing through, failure, basically. Pushing through. I don't know that I've had different kinds of success throughout my career, but I feel like I'm getting to a stage where I'm really achieving as a professional. That I'm delivering a product that fulfills people's expectations and exceeds people's expectations for the kind of work that I'm doing. So that's really, it's just a really good feeling, because it just feels good to do work that you want to do and know that it meant something, that it was useful to somebody, that it helped, that it made the world better. And that's just, it feels great to be there. And so I wanted to talk about some of why I think that that's happening, and some of the learning curves, or maybe some of the more important things that I feel about what I'm doing. And here's what I've got to say. This is sort of philosophical, and I guess I'm still putting it together. But let's start with, one thing is getting the sound right, getting the mix right. So and you can't ever get your mix right, by the way, but you can keep making your mix better and better. And one of the biggest challenges about playing all kinds of gigs and running your own sound is that you are in a new environment every single time, and you can't possibly mix sound. It could take, just like it takes you years to become an expert at playing a guitar. It's funny to just think about the term expert. What does that even mean? I mean, it's all relative. It takes you years to become, let's say, good at the guitar. It will take you a long time to become good at mixing your sound, and then to master any particular environment, it's going to take time. And so you got to learn about how the sound bounces off of different things. How does it work in the open air? How does it work in tight spaces? When there's different materials in the room, when there's different angles in the room. And that stuff, it all matters. And as you pay attention to that and you get better at, for me, I'm working with 2 speakers and a stage monitor, which is, I'm using 2 QSC K12 speakers, and I'm using a Roland Cube amp, a busking amp, as my stage monitor. By the way, love the Roland Cube. I've used that for busking. I can run 2 mics into it. It's got guitar effects. I've used that to run an electric guitar, actually, for live shows, where I run the guitar through that to get an effect on it, get the reverb effects, and get the distortion effects, the overdrive. And I even ran my electric guitar, a Fender Squier Bullet, through a, what was it, an AC3, a Zoom AC3, which is an acoustic pedal, and I ran the electric through that and then through my Cube amp, and that's how I got my tone for a full band gig that I was playing lead guitar for. And I actually got a compliment on the tone and my playing, but specifically the tone. I didn't expect to get compliments on either, so that was pretty. I mean, I don't know. I try to pay really close attention to compliments that I get and really understand where it's coming from. Is it coming from the person who wants to connect socially and they're just looking for a connection, or it's coming from informed listening ears that they have listened to a lot of different tones and they're actually giving you like really insightful feedback? It's hard to know. So I try to listen and figure out what voice is speaking. You know, what is it, a voice of experience? Is it a voice of enthusiasm? But nevertheless, if you get compliments, it means you must be doing something right. You know, whatever. There's some reason why this person probably. Well, generally, I guess you can always get sycophants, but we can all be that at times. That's how I ran my guitar, was through the Zoom AC3 and then through the Roland Cube amp. And I do think I got a pretty good tone out of it. And I was just playing through my Cube amp today, nice tone. And so that's one of the things, is just getting your sound dialed in. And maybe that's pretty basic, but I'll just be another voice that after going my own road, I've learned that same thing through doing this for some years now, that really has significance. So the tone that you're working on has significance, but as does the mixing. And that's going to be a challenge. Every new room you get into is different. And that's, you can't put too much pressure on yourself for getting the mix right. Because, I mean, it's just going to be impossible when you walk into any room and you're working with 2 speakers and a stage monitor that are not designed for that specific room. Or, you got to, on the fly, you got to figure out, how am I going to angle these speakers and hope I get as good of a balance in the room as I can. And you'd run it by yourself. I'm running through a Behringer XR18 mixer, and so you can use the iPad to actually, I'll throw in a loop on the RC1, the Boss RC1 looper, which I think is super useful. Having a looper in your live setup, having a looper I think is awesome. Just a simple one, but I think for me, I think it's kind of a must. I wouldn't want to go into a gig without a looper, unless I'm working with a full band. But even then, I bring my looper just in case I want to throw a loop down, and we all jam up with that loop. But not as necessary with the band. But as a solo act, I think it's huge because I can throw the loop down and I can walk around with my iPad and just kind of check how the sounds get into different places, at least through the guitar. And so that's huge, because you want to have a good amount of presence in what you're doing. If you don't have presence with your sound, then it's going to be very hard to do something that is compelling. People need to feel it. It needs to be there. And so you want to have. For me, I love just like in kite surfing. Actually, when I do kite surfing for a long time, I loved being lit. And maybe I'm gonna go through a similar pattern with music, but I love being lit, because if you're lit and you have way more power than you need, then as long as you can, compose it and you can handle it, then you can, the sky's the limit. Literally, you can fly. You can fly huge, and then you can also, go more moderate. Now it does. There is the trade-off that when you're lit on kite surfing, it wears you out. But I like that on a mic. I like being lit because I can always back off the mic. I can lean back. And when I want to do something that's softer, but I still want to reach everyone, I can lean in. I can speak soft. Get right up in the mic and speak soft. And then you can get that tone that otherwise you wouldn't be able to hear unless your mic was turned up. So it gives you presence with like everything you're doing. And the presence is huge, but you don't want to blow people out. And so that takes some getting used to, of figuring out how much to dig into your strings on your guitar or your keys on your piano, and how close to get to the mic, how much to push out in your vocal. And that to me, a lot of times, is more what I'm thinking of these days. I used to always just think about, like, I want to emote I want to be totally immersed in the song. I'm committed to the song, and that's where my head's at. But now, more and more, I'm focused more on what's going on in the room and what's going on in the audience, and when maybe something I'm doing is a little more grating, or when I'm really finding some sweet spots. And I try, or when people chill out, or they become anxious or socially nervous. Sometimes I might feel that in the room where I feel like, okay, the conversation just died. Like, here's an awkward moment for people, right? I can do something about that, because I can fill that space, and I can give people something to listen to. So if I hear that the chatter has kind of stalled out and everybody's just listening to, and I was maybe doing something kind of mellow, just sort of supporting the chatter, and then it just kind of stalls out, then I'll pick it up and I'll just be like, hey, we're partying here, people. Like, I don't know, I'll throw something out and be like, I don't mind, like, even being a little bit insulting sometimes. It's not like I'm saying you guys suck or anything. I'm just saying, I just kind of throw out, if you guys are going to drop the energy, I'll pick it up. Like, I'm sort of not going to permit the energy to be low, because it's like, that's part of my job. I think that's part of the job of the musician. It is like, when people are at a public event, they want to enjoy themselves and they want to have a good time, and they don't want to experience socially awkward moments. Nobody wants to experience those. They want to laugh, they want to have fun. And so if I feel that the energy is just stalled out, then I'll just give them something to experience, something to fill that space until they rise back up, and then maybe I'll just chill back. I'll come back down again and get kind of underneath them again. And I also think that presence is really key. So you're always making yourself known. You're not afraid to be present there. They can feel, how you are. And I try to be, not every gig you feel, energy. Not every gig you go to, you're like, you woke up on the right side of the bed and you're like, you got 10 gallons of caffeine, like, naturally in your body, and you're ready to go. And you're just ready to go. Like, sometimes you're tired, and sometimes you didn't have a good gig the time before, or people on the road were just nasty and honking and disrespectful. It's kind of every day, but you know what I'm saying. Some days maybe you're not mentally there where you're really ready to do that, but I think what I try to do is just feel what the atmosphere of the room is, and I try to always raise the energy. I try to. Sometimes I just got to push hard, and I'll just push out volume and energy, and I'll just go for it and give it everything, even if I don't feel it, and just give it everything. And then usually when I do that, I'll end up finding my motivation, and it starts to cheer me up just naturally, and I start getting excited. And then when I start getting excited, then people start getting excited, and it's just this the opposite of a vicious cycle. It's like a wonderful cycle. And I think that's really great. I think that's an angle on performance. Here's another thing is, I try to sing to people. And so I used to just sing for myself, and I wanted to have an emotional experience, and I wanted to share that emotional experience with others. But now, to an extent, I sing, let's say I'm singing Let Her Go by Passenger, or whatever the heck I'm singing, La Bamba, or whatever. I look around and I just try to thrive on what I see in the room. And so if I see somebody like tapping their foot, or I see somebody like nodding their head, or kind of mouthing the words like, hey now, you're an all-star, get your game, or whatever, then I get super excited. I'm like, okay, we're grooving together. I'm with them. Like, we're together. And that's all I need to know is, like, if I can see that, I know they're at least to a certain level enjoying what I'm doing, and then I feel like I have permission to continue. And so then I'll build on that, and I'll look to those moments. And then if I look and I see somebody's like annoyed at me, or they're like down in the dumps or whatever, I'll be like, oh, I don't know, like or if they really are just really hateful towards me or something, which happens, like people, you're on a stage, like people can treat you however they're gonna have opinions about you, and if you look around at everyone in the room, it's not like you're going to get 100% positive. Like, you're going to get all sorts of different feedback, and plenty of it will have nothing to do with you. Some of it will have to do with you. I mean, at the end of the day, they don't know you, so how much does it really have to do with you? But they may be reading something in you, or about your body language, about how you're carrying yourself, and you may get some negative responses, right? You can't let it bother you. And the moment you let it bother you, and you let it start bothering you, that you're starting to lose. It's like a game. It's like a game, and you have to overcome when people are negative, and that's one of the biggest purposes, I think, of playing live music events, is to inspire people. And you got to find ways to inspire people, and you got to always be looking for new ways to inspire people, new ways to play your guitar, new ways to sing, new ways to get through a song. And that keeps it interesting for yourself, which is really important. But that's the ever persisting challenge. And maybe here, get super deep and philosophical. That's the battle of good and evil. Is good innovates, and good always moves forward. And I don't think evil really knows how to do that. I mean, well, no, it does. Evil is sinister, but I think that's like, you always got to be pushing forward, because like one of the things that evil does is it uses words, and it uses them to deceive people, and so it can like ruin words, right? It turns what were once beautiful and wonderful, helpful words that help people feel together and whatnot, and it makes them meaningless, because these words can't be trusted anymore, or they're used too much to manipulate. And then we always have to find new ways to communicate and to connect to each other. But that's one of the things that you're doing when you're performing, I think, is you're always looking for, how can I connect people? I'll be a little bit silly here. Does that connect people? I want to give people a good time. I want to help them feel better about life, feel better about themselves. I want to help them just enjoy being alive and being together. And maybe that means I need to be silly, or maybe that means I need to be hardworking, like hit it with everything I got, so people know I ain't messing around. And this is it. Maybe people think it's fun and games, and there is an element to it that it's fun, but at the same time it's hard work, and like I need to pursue my craft with just as much dedication as a firefighter pursues his craft, as a policeman pursues his craft. We're all in this together, and we got to work together to be strong together. And so sometimes that, I think, is the important thing to communicate, is to show persistence and dedication, and the willingness to sacrifice, and for me to just suck it up and push hard, so people can see I'm not just goofing around, and but then when they see that, then maybe that earns me the permission to be a little bit silly, and show it's okay to be silly. Like, that's what we're here for. Like, we got to stay focused, we got to stay hard, we got to stay working hard, but also when we're all together, we can relax and enjoy ourselves and have a good time. So I'm always trying to find how I'm singing to the people. And so when I'm singing Let Her Go, or I'm singing All Star, or whatever, I see all these songs as opportunities to try to communicate something to the group, or to individuals, and have moments with individuals, or just to express something strongly and get it out there. And so it may have nothing to do with the song, but I also look for opportunities within a song, like, hey, now you're an all-star. Now when I sing that song every time, I'm letting people know, like YOLO, sort of, you're an all-star, and it's within you to be whatever you want to be. It is within your power to be as great as you can possibly be. You're an all-star. Go get your game on, go play. There's no time to lose. It's like, go do it. And there's no doubt. You're an all-star. It's like, you can be. It's within you. It's within within every individual's power to be great at something in some way. There's greatness within every single person. And it's up to you to unlock that greatness. And so I use that song to communicate that. That's what that song means to me. And I shout that at people, and I mean it. And I'll use Let Her Go, and I'm singing Let Her Go, but maybe I don't even worry about the context of the song so much or something. And I just try to show happiness to people, and I try to sing to the sunlight or something. I just try to like put as much bright energy into the guitar playing or into my singing or as I can, and just try to be happy within myself and express that through the music. And then when other people see that happiness, or they feel that joy that's occurring within the music and within the singing, this like it's just when you see somebody else that's happy, it just makes you happy. It's like it's a wonderful thing to see happiness. And so I try to find that within myself, find my happy place like Peter Pan, and share that with people and just put it out there. And like I said, if you're sharing your happiness, it's very easy when you're being happy. And I used to feel vulnerable at times because like I'd be sensitive if somebody I'm trying to share happiness and I want to be together, and I don't want to experience hate, and nobody wants to experience that, or unfriendliness, and somebody might cast a nasty look and you lock eyes. You're like, oh shit, pardon my French, but it's kind of the way it is experienced. It's like, that hurt. It's like, man, that's kind of tragic. Like, and you can feel like you're trying so hard to communicate positive things and want to connect positively, but then somebody is there, that's the evidence of like what's going on, and they're ready to rip you down, or they're ripping other people down. And you just got to move past it. You can't dwell on it. It's like, that's out there, and that's your job, is to try. And what's cool is when you see that, you don't let it get to you, and you find a way to raise that. And through connecting with other people, then eventually that person's brought into a more positive state. And that's the beautiful thing. And then maybe by the end you can get to something really wonderful where everyone's dancing together and they're just really enjoying being alive. I want to see one other thing. I think I've probably hit on most of the angles that I want to hit on. I think practice, that's something I'm going to start taking a lot more seriously. For a while I thought maybe I can just practice, through gigging. That all this is, in one way, to get better at performance, or essentially there's only one way to practice performance, and that's to perform. But you want to give yourselves as many tools as is possible. Like I've been practicing basketball out in my driveway a lot, and I do it for exercise, but I also just love it. I think there's a part of me that always wanted to be an athlete, and I like practicing basketball more than I like practicing music, actually. But I'm starting to really understand what makes music so fun, and I start to finally experience live performance almost like a live basketball game. And if it really, because I absolutely love playing pickup basketball. I am addicted to it. I will always love it. It's one of my favorite things in the world to do. I got super into kite surfing. Kite surfing, it gives you an adrenaline rush. You launch into the sky. It's insane. It's amazing. But after doing that for like 5 or 6 years and going after it, I sort of reached a point where I was like, I started just going back to basketball, and I realized after all this time, there's something about that experience of playing competitively with other people in this fast-paced, moving experience. It's a amazing kind of communication and mutual understanding and growth and challenge. And I think the same thing is the case for music. It's just that I never was getting to that level where I really understood what's really happening in a live music setting. And so now I feel like I'm starting to understand what really is going on and just how truly powerful the music is, and that the mastery is essential. And so that's the last thing that I want to mention, and I'm looking forward to as I begin to take just putting in hours of focused practice in and really trying to master my guitar playing, become a better finger picker. I think I'm a pretty dang solid rhythm guitar. My strumming, I think, is on point now. It's like what I can do with rhythm. I think I can diversify what I'm doing, but what I do with rhythm guitar, I'm pretty excellent at this point. But my lead playing, practice. I think practice is huge. if you put in an hour every day for a year, the amount of progress that you're going to make, and you're going to see, and the precision, like its focus, its attention to detail. There's a local guitarist here that I saw him post that when he described his playing, which I think he's an excellent player, and he reminds me of Tommy Emmanuel the way he plays. And that's Justin Hodge. And there's a couple of guitar players that are like that in Charleston. They have a similar play style and have put in that time. I saw a post one time. He talked about attention. It's focus, I think, and attention to detail. It's something along the lines he said. I know he said attention to detail, and that's what it is, because if you don't pay the attention to detail, there's little mistakes that happen. And for me, for my own, and that's the same thing in the mixing side of things and in everything. For my own personal experience, if I write a song, when I record it, I take it to a certain level, right? I'll get it to like maybe 80 to 90% of the way there, where it's like, I know that the song works, I enjoy it, and like for my own personal satisfaction, I don't need it to get any better. And that's how I am with my own with my playing too. Like I like it, but I don't have this personal desire to just nail every note perfectly. It's like it just doesn't. It's not that important to me. It's like I got the experience of playing it and the pleasure of playing it. It was fun. It was all. But the listening experience of somebody that's not yourself, when you accidentally tap that string with your thumb and it buzzes a little bit, that distorts the message and it messes with what's going on. And that clean playing is essential. Like everything that you do should be intentional. And you can experiment and be playful, and I think there's a place for that in live performance where you do really push yourself, and maybe you do make mistakes or it is a little messy, but people can see that and they understand that that's the moment that's occurring, and you're actively pushing yourself. You're growing literally in front of their eyes, and that's amazing, right? And especially if you're already at a really high level, for people to watch you push yourself and literally grow in front of them is, I think, probably a very cool experience. But yeah, I think the clean playing is really important. Everything you're doing should be envisioned in your mind, or maybe it's a stream of consciousness. You get in that flow state, but it's like what you feel, your expression, you're able to channel that into the guitar. And yeah, I think otherwise, if you're accidentally hitting something with your thumb, even in these small ways, and there's so much, it's what I'm learning and realizing is just there's so much about technique that you can do with your fingers on the guitar that you can do. I mean, I've played guitar for 20 years. I haven't pursued lead playing like with some kind of diligence. I'm starting to get where I feel like I'm pretty good at lead playing. But still, I've played for 20 years and I've played a lot. And I'm still learning or figuring out different things, small, subtle things that you can do with your fingers to get new noises. And I just think that's the coolest thing. I mean, it's like the amount of different sounds that you can get out of the guitar. That's what it's all about. You have an instrument, and as much as you can get out of that instrument, the more ways that you can manipulate the instrument to create useful sounds. I mean, you're just making yourself a very powerful guitar player, and a very, yeah, I mean, that's what it is. And so practice, I'll leave it there. Those are a lot of my thoughts about how to be a successful performer. So sing to other people, try to get yourself, sing about your own emotions, like of what you're actually experiencing at the event. And so if people are being cold to you, communicate it. I think that an event can you can bomb, right? Just like comedians bomb, musicians can bomb. And you could bomb and you could go a negative place and then it just spirals down. But I think sometimes it's important to just I've played gigs where I pushed and pushed and pushed, and I played one, it was a birthday party. And these people were just kind of a low energy, and I watched them how they interacted with another performer that night, and I just thought the performer was trying to do a good job, and just the energy and response, they weren't going to help the performer out by any means. The performer was going to have to do the heavy lifting. And for a birthday party, it was just, everyone's mood was down. It was just, to me, it seemed kind of weird. And so I pushed and pushed and I pushed and I tried to lift their energy. I saw some people tapping their toes, saw some younger people in particular doing some singing to some of the songs. And they seemed like they were moving. They were ready to, probably they would want to dance at some point. But I didn't feel like I could ever really raise that energy. They never really bought into what I didn't feel like they really bought into what I was doing, or were encouraged enough to go ahead and relax more and raise their energy level and loosen up and really have a good time. They just felt a little uptight. And so for me, I could look at that as a failure within my own self. Maybe it's just that audience was a very difficult audience to work with. Who knows why? Maybe they had a death in the family. Maybe there was reasons why they're just really down. But at some point, I just felt, okay, I've been pushing hard for 45 minutes or an hour now, and I'm not seeing them really budge in terms of their energy level. So at some point, I was just like, okay, I'll let you know how. Okay, sweet. So I was recording a video, and then when I finished talking, I was going to end the video. I looked to go click, and then it wasn't recording, and I thought that I just lost it all, but I just discovered actually it cut out almost at the end. So there's maybe like 5 or so minutes that I lost. I'll just pick it up here. So I was finishing this story of this birthday gig I played, and what I wanted to communicate is the importance of just sort of sometimes like communicating how you actually feel through your singing. And so whatever song you're singing, sometimes it doesn't matter really what the song is, but you're using the song as a medium to express your own feeling of what you're experiencing in that room. And so that's what I was saying, is to encourage you to not be afraid to express your own self. So like in this instance, I was playing for like 45 minutes to an hour of really pushing and trying to push the energy and raise the energy of this birthday party that just had a low energy. But I couldn't ever really, it didn't seem like they were going to do it no matter how hard I tried and how many times I just tried to just continue to keep doing it and never take it personally, just push and keep pushing and try to raise it and show it loving expression to people and connect. It just never went there. And so after 45 minutes to an hour of doing that, I didn't give up, but I just felt I'm just going to tell them what it feels like to be me. And so they can understand, that I'm not just a robot, It's like, and I think that's okay. It's like, I can't dwell on it. If you dwell on it, and then it just goes down to this dark place where you are upset at the audience and the audience doesn't, and you both end up going downhill. But I think it's totally okay to share that at some point, over the course of a 3 or 4 hour gig, if people are, not really helping, which in this particular event, I could see pretty clearly. There was another performer there as well that I watched perform for about 30 to 40 minutes, and the audience, it was a magician, and the audience, it was not the kind of audience that was going to help. You had to pull every little bit out of them. And yeah, so I ended up, at one point, I sang a full song just sort of showing, you know what, this is how I feel like. I wanted to party, I wanted to have a good time, and, I feel like this. This is how I feel like you guys are, And so this is, I can be that. I mean, that's how it feels. So I just showed them that I feel it, I get it, but I don't want to be there, and I don't want to stay there, and I want to get us up to here. And so then I put, after that expression for a little bit, maybe I did 1 or 2 songs, I can't remember. Then I kept trying to push it up and push it up. I never got people out on the dance floor on that particular night. I saw people were ready to, they were pretty close, but there wasn't enough like a tipping point to get people on the dance floor. I tried my hardest. I threw out Footloose and crushed, put out as much energy as I could in Footloose. I tried La Bamba, Twist and Shout, and just there were some people that were ready, but there wasn't enough to get whoever's gonna be the first person to get the thing started. So I don't know. I didn't get it on that time, but at the end they were really happy with. I got a generous tip, and people were really happy with the music, and I got tips from a number of different people and a lot of people that were coming up and complimenting me and thanking me. So it was well reviewed. The staff, actually, even the staff tipped me on that one, which was crazy. I've never been tipped by the wait staff. They tipped me, one of the waiters tipped me $20, which I just thought was nuts. That was a particularly amazing event. But that's it. I say that to say that all goes to show that, like, even when, like, every audience is different, and when I was working with that audience and I felt like I couldn't get them to get where maybe I got with other audiences, still what I did mattered to them and it made a difference to them. And maybe I just wasn't able to perceive it as much, or it just didn't. Maybe that audience, I don't know what it was. I don't know what it would have taken to get them to that level of dancing. I don't know. They moved the tables around like they were ready to, and it just didn't happen. But I'll leave it there. Thanks for tuning in to Thursday Learn Day. I know this is a long one. Hopefully it was helpful to you. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope it was useful to you. Peace out. Rock on. Stir us up. See you guys in the next one.
Las playas del Carmen y Tulum, Sinote, Ucule. Estamos feliz y perdido en que